Hello everyone, and welcome back to my food channel. Today I'm sharing a tutorial for homemade crispy skin pork belly, a classic version of the famous fried Kourou, steamed and fried pork belly. The finished dish features a crispy, blistered skin, often called tiger skin, and tender, flavorful meat. Once you learn the technique, you can easily recreate it at home. First, let's talk about how to select the right pork belly for this dish. You want to cut with the skin intact and distinct, even layers of fat and lean meat, ideally with slightly thicker skin. This type of meat yields the best tiger skin texture when fried and offers the most satisfying mouthfeel. Avoid cuts that are overly fatty, as they can feel greasy, but also steer clear of cuts with too much lean meat, which can turn tough and dry after frying. A balanced cut with alternating layers of fat and lean is the foundation of a delicious Kourou. Once selected, thoroughly wash the pork belly in fresh water to remove any surface blood or impurities. If there are any remaining bristles on the skin, gently scrape them off with a knife. Proper cleaning ensures the final dish has no unpleasant odors. There is no need to cut the cleaned pork belly into smaller pieces. Place the whole slab directly into a pressure cooker. Add enough water to completely submerge the meat, along with a suitable amount of salt. Using a pressure cooker is much faster than a standard wok, saving a significant amount of preparation time. Furthermore, a high-temperature, high-pressure environment effectively renders out excess fat, ensuring the fried pork is fragrant and flavorful without feeling overly greasy. Cooking the meat whole also preserves its structural integrity, making it less likely to fall apart during frying or slicing, resulting in a neater, more attractive presentation. Next, add some Shaoxing wine to the pot to neutralize any gamey odor and enhance the meat's natural aroma, making it cleaner and more mellow. Once all the ingredients and seasonings are in, simply secure the pressure cooker lid and start cooking. Once the pressure cooker builds up steam and the valve begins to hiss steadily, set a timer for 4 to 5 minutes, then turn off the heat. The cooking time doesn't need to be very long. If cooked for too long, the pork belly becomes excessively soft and mushy under pressure. Both the skin and the meat lose their structural integrity, making the piece prone to breaking apart or losing its shape during frying. Furthermore, the finished Kourou, steamed pork belly, will lack that satisfying, springy chewiness, significantly compromising the texture. Once the heat is turned off and the pressure cooker has safely released its steam, you can remove the whole slab of pork belly. Next, check to ensure the pork belly is thoroughly cooked. The method is simple. First, inspect it visually. If no blood is seeping from the surface or the cut edges, it is likely done. Then, take a clean chopstick or fork and pierce the thickest part of the meat. If it slides in easily and smoothly without significant resistance, the meat is fully cooked. It is best to check several spots to ensure the entire piece is cooked through. If any areas remain undercooked, it will be difficult to prick holes in the skin later, and it will also hinder the formation of the signature tiger skin, crispy blistered texture during frying. Simply confirm it is fully cooked before proceeding to the next step. Once confirmed, remove the stewed pork belly from the pressure cooker and place it flat on a clean plate. Let it cool for a minute or two until it is no longer too hot to handle. Then proceed to the most crucial step, piercing the pork skin. You can use a standard kitchen fork for this. A toothpick works perfectly well too. When piercing, ensure the entire surface of the skin is covered evenly and densely, leaving no large blank areas. You do not need to use excessive force. Simply piercing through the skin layer is sufficient. Avoid driving the tool deep into the lean meat, as this could compromise the structural integrity of the piece. Many people ask why it is necessary to go to the trouble of piercing the skin. In fact, this step serves a vital purpose. Primarily, it helps release excess fat, thereby reducing the greasiness of the finished dish. We all know that pork belly has a thick layer of fat beneath the skin. During high-temperature frying, this fat heats up and melts rapidly. If the skin remains intact and sealed, the rendered fat has no way to escape and becomes trapped between the skin and the lean meat, making the finished Kourou, steamed pork belly, feel excessively greasy, so much so that many people find it hard to swallow after just a piece or two. The small holes we prick serve as dedicated channels for the fat to escape. As the meat fries, excess fat slowly seeps out through these openings, significantly reducing the overall fat content. This results in a dish that is fragrant yet not cloying, making it palatable even for those who usually shy away from fatty meat. The second key function of these holes is determining whether the pork develops that beautiful, crispy tiger skin texture. During frying, residual moisture and fat beneath the skin expand rapidly due to the heat. These evenly distributed holes allow the expanding gases to escape in a controlled manner, causing the skin surface to puff up into the uneven, crisp texture characteristic of the desired tiger skin effect. The more evenly and densely the holes are pricked, the more uniform and attractive the tiger skin pattern becomes, ensuring every part is crispy and melts in the mouth. Conversely, if too few holes are pricked or they are unevenly distributed, you risk either localized large blisters that burst the skin or a failure of the skin to puff up at all, leaving it limp and soggy, completely lacking the classic Kourou contrast of a crispy exterior and tender, sticky interior. Additionally, these small holes facilitate better absorption of the marinade during the subsequent seasoning stage, allowing the flavors to penetrate deeply into both the skin and the meat. This ensures the dish is evenly seasoned throughout, rather than just having a salty coating on the surface. Be sure not to cut corners on this step. Take the time to prick the holes thoroughly, and the results of your fried pork belly will certainly not disappoint. Once the pork skin has been thoroughly pricked, we move on to the next crucial step, evenly coating the skin with white vinegar. This is a key ingredient for achieving that beautiful tiger skin texture, so it is absolutely essential and must not be skipped. The process is simple. Use a kitchen brush or a paper towel dipped in white vinegar to coat the entire surface of the pork skin evenly. Make sure to cover every area where you've pricked holes, allowing the vinegar to seep slowly into the skin through those tiny openings. You don't need a thick layer. A thin, even coating is sufficient. White vinegar plays a crucial role. The acetic acid within it softens the outer layer of the pork skin, making it easier for the skin to expand and wrinkle uniformly during high-temperature frying, thereby creating that perfect, distinct tiger skin texture. Additionally, the vinegar breaks down excess surface grease, resulting in a crispier, lighter texture that isn't cloyingly oily, while also neutralizing some of the pork's gamey odor to enhance the purity of the meat's flavor. After applying the vinegar, let the meat rest for about a minute to allow it to fully penetrate. Once the vinegar has soaked in, evenly rub salt onto the pork belly. This step is vital for achieving that crispy tiger skin texture and establishes a base flavor, ensuring the meat absorbs seasonings more evenly during the subsequent braising process. When salting, apply a thin, even layer over the skin and lightly season the sides of the lean meat to build a solid flavor foundation. Ensure the salt reaches the tiny holes and crevices in the skin so it can seep into the skin and the underlying fat layer. Use only a small amount. A thin coating is plenty to avoid making the final dish too salty. Salt significantly aids the frying process. It draws out excess moisture from the skin's surface, allowing it to reach the high temperatures needed for crisping more quickly. This facilitates the formation of uniform, plump tiger skin blisters, preventing issues where high moisture content might otherwise stop the skin from crisping or wrinkling properly. At the same time, the base seasoning applied beforehand gradually permeates deep into the meat. Whether the pork belly is subsequently braised whole or sliced and seasoned, there is no risk of the skin being salty while the interior remains bland. The entire cut is evenly seasoned, resulting in a richer flavor and a superior taste. Once all the preliminary preparations are complete, we can begin frying the pork belly. Here, we use the rendered lard prepared earlier. While the oil is hot, simply slide the prepared pork belly into the pan along the edge. If you aren't using oil that has been preheated, be sure to season or coat the pan first. Pour in the oil and heat it slowly over a low flame to thoroughly coat the pan walls and bring the oil to the right temperature before adding the meat. This minimizes the risk of the skin sticking to the pan and tearing. A crucial safety tip. Before frying, the surface of the pork belly must be completely dried. Never place it in the pan while there are still water droplets on it. Droplets hitting the hot oil will instantly boil and splatter, easily causing burns to your hands or face, so please take the necessary precautions beforehand. When the cooked pork belly first enters the hot oil, do not flip it back and forth immediately. Let it sit against the bottom of the pan for a while so the skin can set its shape. You can gently shift the meat's position with a spatula to prevent the skin from sticking and burning in one spot, but avoid flipping it over or moving it vigorously. Wait until the surface moisture has evaporated and the skin has turned slightly yellow and fully set before flipping it. Throughout the frying process, be wary of hot oil splattering, especially right after the meat goes in and before the moisture has fully evaporated. You can hold the pan leg between your body and the pan for protection while working. Safety always comes first. Once the pork belly is carefully placed into the hot oil, we enter the slow frying phase, the part that truly tests one's patience. The entire process takes about half an hour, so there is no need to rush. As I fry, I'll break down the details and common pitfalls of each stage. This is all practical, actionable advice, and following along guarantees a perfect, evenly crispy tiger skin texture. The first few minutes after the meat hits the pan are when surface moisture evaporates rapidly and hot oil is most likely to splatter. Simply keep the heat low and fry with the lid on. There is no need to lift the lid frequently to check. When the sound of the oil changes from loud, aggressive popping and crackling to a gentle, fine sizzling, it indicates that most of the surface moisture has evaporated. The risk of splattering drops significantly at this point, so you can remove the lid and inspect the meat. You will notice that the edges of the pork skin touching the bottom of the pan have started to turn a pale yellow, and the meat has largely set its shape. Be extra careful during the first flip. Do not simply grab it with chopsticks, as the skin is still soft and tears easily. Instead, use a spatula to securely support the bottom of the pork belly while gently steadying the side with a chopstick. Then slowly turn it over along the edge of the pan. Keep the movement gentle and steady. Don't just drop the meat back in, or the oil will splash up and risk burning you. You can hold the lid between the pan and your body as a simple shield while flipping. Moving the meat can cause hot oil to splash, and safety always comes first. After flipping, let the lean meat side fry for 2 or 3 minutes to set the surface and neutralize any raw smell. There is no need to fry it for long, as the main focus of the process is the skin side. Once the lean meat side turns slightly pale and firms up, flip it back over to continue frying the skin. This leads into the extended low-heat frying phase, the crucial stage for rendering out excess fat and allowing the skin to slowly puff up into that characteristic tiger skin texture. At this stage, many people get impatient. Seeing that the pork skin remains flat after frying for 10 minutes, without any sign of the tiger skin texture, they might be tempted to turn up the heat to speed things up. I must emphasize here, absolutely do not turn up the heat. Achieving that crispy tiger skin texture for Kourou, steamed pork belly, relies on slow frying at a low temperature. This process gradually draws out moisture and fat from the skin, allowing it to slowly expand and wrinkle. If you use high heat, the surface will instantly scorch and harden, trapping the fat and moisture inside. Not only will you fail to get an even tiger skin pattern, but the meat will also taste excessively greasy, rendering all your earlier prep work, pricking holes and rubbing on vinegar and salt, completely wasted. You don't need to stand right by the wok constantly turning the meat during the slow frying process. Simply flipping the pork belly or gently shifting its position every 2 or 3 minutes is sufficient. Shifting the meat prevents localized hot spots at the bottom of the wok from burning specific patches of skin and ensures that every part of the skin comes into even contact with the hot oil. The edges and corners of the pork belly are particularly prone to missing out on the oil, which can result in an uneven tiger skin pattern. If this happens, you can slightly tilt the wok to let the hot oil flow over those untouched edges and corners, frying them a bit longer to ensure the entire surface of the skin heats evenly. After frying for about 15 minutes, you will notice 2 distinct changes. First, the volume of oil in the wok increases. This extra oil is rendered fat from the pork belly itself. The more fat you render out, the more fragrant and less greasy the final dish will be, making it palatable even for those who usually shy away from fatty meat. Second, the color of the pork skin shifts from pale yellow to a deeper golden yellow, and small bumpy granules begin to appear on the surface. This indicates that the tiger skin texture is starting to form, confirming that you have executed the previous steps correctly. At this stage, you need to flip the meat more frequently, roughly every minute or 2, rather than frying just one side for too long. The pork skin is still slowly rendering fat and puffing up. If it stays in contact with the bottom of the pan for too long, it can easily burn in spots, and the puffed tiger skin blisters might burst, spoiling the final appearance. Handle the meat gently when flipping. Use a spatula to support the bottom and chopsticks for assistance. Avoid pulling forcefully on the skin, as the semi-crisp texture makes it prone to shattering under too much pressure. Here is a common pitfall to avoid. Many people think the pork belly must be completely submerged in oil when frying it for Kourou, steamed pork with preserved vegetables, but that isn't necessary at all. As long as there is enough oil at the bottom of the pan to cover most of the skin, combined with frequent flipping and tilting the pan to baste the skin with hot oil, you can achieve that uniform tiger skin texture. This method saves a significant amount of oil and makes the dish feel less heavy to eat. For home cooking, there is no need for the massive amounts of oil used in restaurants. Slow frying over low heat with frequent flipping yields excellent results. After frying for about 20 minutes, the pork belly will noticeably shrink in overall size. The skin will turn a uniform golden brown, and the bumpy, textured surface will become increasingly pronounced. If you tap it lightly with chopsticks, it should feel firm and crisp rather than soft or yielding. At this point, increase the flipping frequency to roughly once a minute and keep a close eye on the pan. The skin is nearly done, and a slight lapse in heat control could easily cause it to burn and turn bitter, wasting the effort of the previous 20 minutes. If you notice a specific area turning significantly darker than the rest, quickly shift the meat's position or lower the heat slightly. The goal is a uniform golden brown, not charred black spots. If foam rises to the surface during frying, you can gently skim it off with a spatula to prevent it from sticking to the skin, burning and ruining the texture or appearance. Many people ask, how do you tell when the pork belly is perfectly fried? It is actually quite simple. You only need to check 3 criteria. First, look at the color. The entire surface of the pork skin should be a uniform, deep golden yellow, free of pale, unfried spots or charred, blackened areas. Second, check the texture. If you tap the skin lightly with a chopstick, it should feel firm and crispy, not soft or limp. Third, observe the volume. The piece of meat should have shrunk slightly compared to when it first went into the pot, and the fatty layer should look tighter, indicating that most of the excess fat has been rendered out. Once it reaches this stage, the pork belly is sufficiently fried. There is no need to fry it until it is completely dry and hard. After all, the dish involves a subsequent braising step. If it is fried too dry, the meat will become tough and stringy after braising, ruining the texture. Frying it just until the skin sets and the characteristic tiger skin pattern emerges is perfect. While the frying process might sound complicated, it really boils down to 3 key points. First, fry slowly over low heat throughout, never rush by turning up the heat. Second, turn the meat frequently to ensure even heating so that every part of the skin is fried. And third, take precautions to avoid burns from the hot oil. As long as you are patient and follow these steps, you don't need complex techniques to achieve the beautiful tiger skin look of restaurant-quality braised pork. Once fried, remove the pork belly to drain the oil and let it cool before proceeding to the next step. Once the fried pork belly has been drained of excess oil and cooled, there are 2 incredibly popular ways to enjoy it. The first is simply slicing it up to eat as crispy skin pork belly. The skin is wonderfully flaky and crisp, while the meat inside is savory, tender, and succulent. Every bite is packed with a rich, charred aroma, even tastier and more satisfying than store-bought char siu, Chinese barbecue pork. Making it at home means you know exactly what goes into it. Clean, hygienic, and worry-free, making it a perfect snack to satisfy a craving, or a great dish to pair with drinks. The second method involves braising it into a dish with a richer flavor profile, specifically braised pork belly, Kourou. I previously released a detailed tutorial on making sand ginger braised pork belly. It uses preserved lemon, sand ginger, and minced garlic, braised with vinegar and sugar. The result is a sweet and sour dish that cuts through the richness and stimulates the appetite. It goes perfectly with a bowl of rice. If you're interested, feel free to check out my channel for the full tutorial. You can also let me know in the comments what kind of food content you'd like to see, and I'll gradually work those ideas into future videos. If this tutorial helped improve your cooking skills, please give it a like, share it with family and friends, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future updates. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.